Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a dedicated reading vlog to The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. It releases today, or it released today, and I'm super excited because this was one of my most anticipated releases of 2021. We all know Grady Hendrix, we all love Grady Hendrix, so I'm excited to bring you along, so let's jump into the vlog. Hey guys, so I am 8% into the Final Girl Support Group. What did I just say? The last Final Girl Support Group. And the e-arc says the Final Girl Support Group. Is that what it is? The Final Girl Support Group or the last Final Girl Support Group? One of those. But anyways, I'm 8% in. So I wanted to update you guys. So far, we have a group of girls that we're obviously following one of the victims, one of the final girls. And it's 7 of them. They get together regularly. I can't remember if it's once a month or whatever. They get together regularly in this basement of this church. And they've been doing it for 16 years. That is a long time to do anything. And they're just going through their things. They're getting to a point where they've been doing this for 16 years. So it's like they're all getting on each other's nerves. They all argue a lot. One is arguing about snacks. And then one of them says that she is going to leave the group. She's a 50-year-old woman. I believe she's gay. She has a wife. And she just says that she wants to spend more time with her wife. And I don't know if the wife is sick or whatever, but Danny, she's the one, she's like, hey, this is my last time. I'm not coming back. And this shatters our main narrator, Lynette. I believe that's her name, Lynette. One thing that I want to say before I continue talking about what's going on is that there are 7 girls. And then the therapist that meets with them, Dr. Carol, I think it's Carol, Dr. Carol Elliott. And while that's not a lot of characters per se, I'm having a really hard time like distinguishing one from the other. So what I'm doing is I'm just like reading through. I'm not paying attention much to the characters because I feel like when you have a lot of characters like that, it sort of works itself out that I'll start remembering the characters. But I always have a hard time when it's a bunch of characters, you know, thrown at once at the beginning of the book. So yeah, I'm liking it. So anyways, they meet up with this Dr. Carol, and the fact that Danny's not going to come to the group anymore really hits Lynette hard. And she ends up saying something like, we're here for so-and-so. If we don't come, I believe it's Heather that she's talking about. If we don't come to this group, she will fall back into drugs. Like, we can't do this. And the one, Danny, the one that wants to leave the group, ends up saying, we don't come here. We haven't come here this long for Heather, for the girl that has a drug problem. We come here for you. And then, you know, they end up getting some news that one of them is dead in the middle of this meeting. They start getting phone calls, and Adrian has died. She has been murdered. So this really throws Lynette out of the loop. And I love how we go into seeing how Lynette is very messed up. She goes through, I don't know what, to get home each time from these like support groups. I mean, she goes through it. She like does loops and loops and loops by the time that she gets home. And I'm sitting here reading, and it's interesting because I'm like, wow, man, like in my mind, obviously, my mind is not one of a final girl. So it's really hard for me to put myself in her place, you know, a final girl. That's crazy. And I'm like, wow, like to me in my mind, I would be safer like just going straight home because, you know, like you're in your own house, although, you know, it can get broken into. But in my mind, if I'm in the streets, the longer I'm in the streets, the more I'm in trouble. But at home, I would feel safer. So like for me, it would be like leave the group and go straight home, not go through like this whole loop around town, getting different buses, getting different routes till I got home, because I'm more in danger. Does that make sense? And so that's what I'm thinking. And then I'm like, but wait, Marcella, you don't know what it's like to be a final girl or to go through the trauma that these women or these girls have gone through. So it was pretty interesting to catch myself on that, but it's going really good. Grady Hendrix, you know, I don't need to say anything. The writing is incredible. It just flows. The storytelling is there. I am 23% of the way in, and there was a part there, so this has mixed media as Grady tends to usually do, but there's like articles in between chapters, and one of the articles really threw me off from the story, so I had a really hard time like picking back up on the chapters. Sometimes that just happens, you know, the mixed media throws me off. I'm actually reading another book right now that has that same thing, like in between chapters it has like another storyline. It's throwing me off of the story big time. So I did have a problem with one of them, not all of them. Some of the articles like really flowed nicely into the next chapter, but this one was kind of weird and it threw me off. And then now I'm like reading a part and like I'm enjoying it, but I'm just mentioning also like the problems that I'm having. Now he's making mention of something that happens or that happened to one of the final girls, and it's exactly like a very popular movie that I really love, like a popular franchise, like a horror movie. And I don't know, I'm not liking that so much, and I don't know why. I usually don't have that kind of problem when it comes to you know, like retellings, or this is not even a retelling, but you know, like repurposing like a movie. But I don't know, it's because I love this franchise so much that it's just rubbing me the wrong way. And I'm just like, really, did we have to go there? Although, you know, I know all of his books are full of movies and, you know, the pop culture and stuff. And I love that. I love that about his books. But this one I'm just not liking too much. So we'll see. Again, 23% of the way in, and I'm enjoying the writing. I'm enjoying the storytelling per usual, but yeah. So I'm 46% of the way in now, and I'm picking up a certain true crime event that happened. I was just watching a video about it the other day. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to spoil it, but there's a lot of like movie scenes, retellings, I don't know if that's the right word to call it, and a lot of like true crime events folded into the story. And I just find it funny. I'd never heard of this specific true crime story until last week that somebody that I watched made a video on it. So I was like, I feel like I saw it at the perfect time because I'm seeing a lot of that unfold within this story, and it's quite interesting. I'm really liking it still. And for me to be able to sit here for hours on end reading one book is a lot. I'm still in the middle of a chapter, so I'm going to continue reading until I finish this chapter, and whatever chapter break is on there, and I'll stop at the next chapter and then we'll chit chat a little bit more. But I'm still liking it. I'm getting a little bit of unreliable narrator, but I don't even know if that's the case yet. That's just the feel that I'm getting for it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the chapter. I just found it interesting how that true crime event is mixed in here, and I had just seen it. I thought it was a cool little tidbit. Probably not. All right, so I stopped at chapter 12, and that puts me at the 48% mark. And let me tell you a little bit more, because we know this is about final girls. There's 7 of them, and so they've been going to this group in a basement with this therapist or counselor for 16 years. And you know, being that they're final girls, they have always been in the spotlight with paparazzi and the media and everybody, you know, crowding them. They have like opportunities to write books, go on talk shows, you know, the whole final girl situation. And so, you know, when things die down, they start dying down and dying down. They all decide to do this group where nobody can find them. So that's why they're in the basement of this church, I believe. and they've been there for 16 years. And you know, one of them, which is Lynette, she is our main character, or she's the narrator really of the story. We're getting it from her point of view. She's just very traumatized. She goes through all these things. She has like a cage at the front of her door. She's like very she has a lot of OCD, a lot of trauma, but it is beyond. And so one day they're at the group and one of the girls says that she's gonna stop going. I think I told you guys this already. And Lynette is freaking out, and she doesn't realize that the group is there to support her in a way. Like, it sort of comes out because in her mind she's thinking if they stop, if either one of them stops going, Heather is going to go back into doing drugs. But they basically tell her, no, we're doing this for you, to keep you together. And out of all of them, she seems the one with the most OCD. And so one day one of them goes missing. She doesn't show up to the meeting, and they get a call and the girl is dead. I think I told you guys this already. So things start spiraling after that. Each one of them is being attacked in different ways, but they're able to sort of explain those happenings away. Like, one of them, their house goes up in flames and they're like, oh, because she was doing drugs. One of them gets shot at through windows and stuff, and they were like, oh, it's because of this and this. Another one gets, I forget, but they all have like instances where somebody's trying to kill them. And so this girl, Lynette, is freaking out. She doesn't know what to do. And so we're just following that storyline right now. And we're getting into Lynette's backstory and what happened to her the night that she became a final girl. And apparently her whole family was murdered. And so it's just her trying to figure out, number one, who's trying to kill them, who's behind all of this, and number two, I guess, trying to work out through her craziness. I said earlier that I'm getting unreliable narrator vibes from Lynette, but I'm not sure yet. And some people consider that a spoiler. Let me know if you consider unreliable, saying that there's an unreliable narrator, if you find that spoilery. I'm getting the vibes here. I don't know if that's the case, so I just wanted to point that out. I did mention that the breaks in between the chapters are throwing me off, but I feel like they're right back on track, because we had one interlude there, or one break, where I was just like, wait, what does this have to do with anything? I still don't know. I don't know if it's gonna come up. So 48% of the way through, I'm excited. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break and go downstairs and clear my mind, because it's really hard for me to just sit there and read. And I'm trying to finish this book today. I started it this morning and I'm trying to finish it today, so I could at least get this up for you guys on release day, which is tomorrow. I know a lot of people are excited about this book. I was one of them. This is one of my most anticipated reads. Hey guys, good morning. So I tried to finish the book yesterday, but I fell asleep reading with my iPad. So I'm 69% of the way through right now. And man, I don't know what it is. I'm just looking for that book. And it's so weird to me, because I usually love everything, or even like everything, but nothing is grabbing my attention. I am getting like super frustrated with this book, and not in a bad way, like, oh, because I'm not liking it. Look at my little gray sticking up, because I'm liking it, but it's not giving me the Grady Hendrix vibes, if that makes sense. I mean, there's certain staples that he has in the book, like the movie mentioning and stuff, but I don't know if it's just because I read Survive the Night, and that is like a really big like movie based book, like it's all about movies and stuff, and then this one has a lot of movies in it. Granted, they're very different movies. Like in Survive the Night, we're talking about like classic movies and stuff, like Gone with the Wind and shit like that. But in this one, we're seeing more horror. And I don't know if I'm just like, okay, I need something else. I don't know what's going on with me. It's not that I'm not enjoying the book. I'm enjoying it, but not as much as I thought I would, or I wanted to, I guess. We have Lynette still trying to figure shit out. She's been to jail. She's been beat up. She's been mistreated. And somebody's just trying to kill off all these final girls one by one. And so Lynette is just trying to figure stuff out, see who is sending these people to kill these girls and what's the motive and all that stuff. So I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I don't know. I don't know. 75% of the way through now, and I'm bored. I've finally reached the point where I'm bored. I'm like rolling my eyes. I don't care. I was enjoying it until this little part. And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Again, it's not the worst book at the moment. It's just this little part that I'm bored with. So I don't know if it'll pick back up, but I'll keep you guys posted. I just thought you should know that I am a little bored. Okay, I am almost done. I'm at 93% and I'm not bored anymore. It's picked up. We've gotten to the action part of the book. Obviously at 93% in, and I'm enjoying a little bit more. I've picked back up with my enjoyment level. I'm eager to finish this, to be completely honest with you, because while I am enjoying aspects of it, I'm not enjoying other ones. So I'm eager to finish this. So I have just finished The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix, and I'm a little disappointed. I just got done reading My Best Friend's Exorcism just last week, and while reading that book, I remember loving it, but not loving it as much as everybody hyped it up to be. I liked it, it was good, but it wasn't fantastic. But I can say now that My Best Friend's Exorcism is probably my second favorite book of his, of the ones that I have read. Number one being The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. To me, right now, there's nothing to beat that book. I loved it so much, and I think it was because I related to that one more, not because I was a woman in the 90s, I was a child in the 90s, but I can remember most of my childhood, especially like being really young, like stuff that probably that people don't remember, I can remember. So the 90s was very vivid to me. Although I wasn't a woman, my mom was a woman, so I remember vividly just her going through the 90s and me as a child going through the 90s, the pop culture, and so I just connected to that book so much. My Best Friend's Exorcism was 80s based, and I vibed with it, I liked it, I related, because again, I was born 81. And so there was still things in the book that I could relate to, like E.T., like the music, the skating rink, all that stuff, all the things of, you know, demons and the devil, that rise that there was around the 70s that bled into the 80s. But this isn't about those books. I just wanted to touch base on those because in the Final Girl Support Group, I always want to say the last Final Support Group, which is ridiculous, but the Final Girl Support Group is set in the 80s, but it's actually written in today, going back to these different final girls throughout time, and there's only 7 of them left. They're the 7 last final girls in the world, in that city. I don't know if it's in the world or in that city, but all I know is that they are the last 7. And so we're going back into what happened to them, how they became final girls as we're going along the story. And while this had a lot of pop culture references and you can see Grady Hendrix's stamp on the book, I feel like it's one of the books that least resembles Grady Hendrix, if that I don't even know if that makes sense or if you understand what I'm saying. Like, out of all his books, I could always see a big flare of Hendrix in it, and this one was missing something. And I also mentioned in the vlog how I just finished reading Survive the Night a couple weeks ago, and I was a little bit disappointed with that one, and that one had a lot of movie-based stories within it, but again, there were like different kinds of movies. Well, in the Final Girl Support Group, we have horror movies, and Survive the Night, we have classics and all kinds of movies. I'm just tired of this movie situation. Like, there was a lot of stories that were told of these final girls that that were taken from old horror movies, and so I was kind of a little bit bored. There was a point in the book towards the end, towards the 65-page mark around there, that I found myself really bored. But then we hit, bam, this really big action-packed scene that closes the whole book up. And while I did like that and I did like the beginning, I kind of was disappointed within the middle part and I was kind of bored. Let's talk about Lynette as a character, this poor girl, what she went through. Like, Almost like in My Best Friend's Exorcism, I feel like Grady Hendrix always has that one character, our main character, that no one listens to, that's so frustrating, that she's trying to get points across. It was really frustrating watching Lynette trying to get all these girls to listen to her and to know that she is just trying to protect everybody. She's like the mother hen out of all of them, and she's trying to protect everybody, and she keeps thinking about what happened to her in her life and her family. I will say that out of all of Hendrix's books, this is the least gross. In all of his books, you always see some sort of gross creep factor, and although we did see a lot of like slasher elements in this one, like blood and gore, not really gore, but a lot of blood, a lot of guns, a lot of, you know, shooting and things like that, we really didn't see the body horror that we get from his books at times. You know, he always have those little short moments of body horror, which I absolutely love. Sitting here, I can't think of any one moment that happened other than injuries that was caused, but he doesn't get really graphic in this one, which could be good to some people. For me, it was kind of like I was wanting that. Again, there are some gross parts, but it's more to do with injuries than with, you know, like in My Best Friend's Exorcism, where there's an exorcism going on and he's explaining what this girl is going through and the changes that her body is going through. In the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, we have a few of those gross moments. We didn't get enough of that here for me, in my opinion. Another thing that bothered me is going back to Lynette and nobody believing her. We have a group of girls that are all final girls. They all went through something. They all have trauma, but they're so... And one of the things that the synopsis says is that, you know, the one thing about a final girl is that they don't stop. That's what makes them final girls. That's what helps them survive, is that they don't stop. They go, 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 go until it's all over. And I feel like for these group of women, because they're already women, they're 30 plus years old, all of these, some of them are even older, because remember at the beginning of me reading the reading vlog, I tell you that these women have been meeting for 16 years straight, supporting each other in this support group with this doctor, Dr. Carol Elliott. So you know that they're old in years already. They're much older, and knowing what they've been through, and how these final girls keep getting attacked, you know, because I feel like once they're final girls, the whole world becomes so infatuated with them that, and not only infatuated with them, but the killers, that they take on killers mentalities and they keep coming after these girls. Knowing all of this, these women just let Lynette down. They were just like, we're not going to believe you. You don't know what you're talking about. You're the most damaged out of all of us. And it really frustrated me, but I guess I can see it. I don't know how I would have been, being one of the other women, how I would have treated Lynette, if I would have believed her or not. But that was one of the things that frustrated me, and poor Lynette. Other than that little moment that I was bored, it was a really good book. It did have its fast pace. His writing is always the same. It's always impeccable. It's always good. One thing that I did mention in the reading vlog as well was the intermissions or the interludes in between the chapters. We have little clips of newspaper articles, police interrogations and things like that, and I felt like although some of them really worked with the story, some of them didn't, and towards the end I just found that they really didn't give any substance to the novel. So I could have done away with some of those newspaper articles, especially when they're referring to some of the horror books, some of the horror movies that have come out of their stories. I found those to be kind of like, although I get why he put them in. It adds to the atmosphere almost. For me, it didn't. I could have done without it. I thought that they were going to have sort of like a point, other than making you look back on how everything was resolved, or how they were treated when their events were happening. Other than that, I didn't find it to put the story together in any which way. But nonetheless, it was a good book. It was fast-paced, with the exception of that little time that I got bored. Great writing as always, but I think I wanted more. Now this could just be me, to be completely transparent with you. I could just be in this funk where nothing is really getting me. I'm looking for that book that
one that we just fall in love with. Me being the type of person that always likes books, it's very disheartening for me to be disappointed, because I'm barely disappointed. It's still a book, it's still a story, and I'm fascinated by them. So I think I might just be in a funk. I haven't seen many people's reviews on this book, so I don't know if I'm the unpopular opinion here. I might be, because we all know that Hendrix has a following that is diehard for them. And just like Gwendolyn Kissed for me, or Christopher Triana, or Brian Keene, they can do no wrong in my eyes. There are people that feel the same way about Hendrix. So I always like to say, take my review with a grain of salt, because, you know, I might not like this book, or I might be disappointed, but everybody else, this could be their 5-star book. This could be the book that they've been waiting for. But for me, it was still a little bit of a disappointment. I'm still giving it 3 stars because it was still a good story. I just think, looking back and sitting here talking to you guys, I just think that I am over the final girl thing. So yeah, those are all my thoughts on the final girl support group. Let me know in the comment section down below. Are you excited for this one? Have you read it already? If you have, tell me your thoughts. If they're kind of spoilery, just DM me and let's chat about this book. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!